Hello everyone, welcome to a very dumb thing. I'm playing as Chaos versus the Greenskins. There was a request to see this build in action, and honestly I was kind of curious myself to test it out in a multiplayer environment. I'm going to do it one time, and this is my one time. I have a Chaos Lord on a dragon. We have multiple Manticores, it's a silly amount. We also have a Chaos Sorcerer Fire thing on a Manticore. And then I brought two Marauder Horsemen deployed kind of far away just in case the enemy had some kind of Vanguard deploy force. These are here for two reasons. One, because I need something on the ground. You can't just have a whole flying force or else you're going to lose. Or at least there's some penalty or something. I don't know. I've never actually done it before, but I know there's some. Anyway, you want things on the ground. The second thing is when you isolate and destroy the things that can have a chance of catching the Marauder Horsemen and murdering them, then they are free to just kind of wail on the enemy's forces. So they are two purposes. One, because they need something on the ground. Two, because they could be great harassers and damage dealers as soon as you isolate and destroy everything that the enemy has. What does the enemy have? They have two Squig Herds. They have a Goblin Wolf Chariot. We have two Savage Orc Boar Boys, which you don't see, like, ever. But they do have armor piercing. They do look cool. Like, no one brings these. I don't bring these. I never see these, but there they are. There's two of them. We also have 4 Black Orcs, a Orc Shaman on a boar, then an Orc Warboss on a boar, a Giant, and again, 2 Squigs. So this army, everything in here basically is armor piercing because I'm playing as Chaos, so that makes sense. Unfortunately, the only thing that can actually hurt the Airforce is going to be these Goblin Wolf Chariots. And that's about it. So I'm just going to immediately rush the enemy's position, keeping my Marauders back for a long time, but they will come into this fight at some point. The Orc Shaman here is going to try and cast a spell, and on my leader I'm going to be like, oh, that's cool. I'm just going to dodge that. We get hit by one of the missiles. That's fine. Barely does anything, as long as you don't get hit by all of them. And we're going to go for this threat right here, because again, this is the only thing that can assault us in the air. So I want to shut that down immediately, so I'm going to see if we can. I'm using our Chaos Sorcerer Lord to give us some buffs to make this faster, so Flaming Sword of Ruin. So everybody's doing magical flaming damage, and yeah, we're just going to chase down these Goblin Chariots. Manticore is pretty fast, man. Pretty fast. Run, goblins, run. And they shatter. So there we go. One threat dealt with. Now I'm free to just kind of take my time. So we're just going to fly over here, and now we're going to try and make sure that we kill isolated targets. As this type of army, you definitely want to take out the isolated targets. In this case, that's going to be the Squigs on their left flank and then their Savage Orc Boys on the right. We don't really want to go into this mess of troops because the Black Orcs will surround us and do a lot of damage. So we're just going to isolate this group over here, this Squig Herd. I'm going to cast another buff spell. That's going to be the Cascading Fire Cloak, giving us some melee defense against these Squigs and some armor piercing damage, which honestly the armor piercing is not needed here. But anyway, we wavering this Squig Herd. Almost killed it in the one charge. Squig Herds are one of the deadliest enemies added, or units added in the DLC. No joke, like they are fucking dumb. They're pretty dumb. In a good way, I guess. But, not that effective against just an army of flying Manticores. Against a normal Chaos army of a lot of heavy armored Chaos Warriors, Squig Herds will do really well. Gonna cast another buff here. Flaming Sword of Ruin. Just because we can. Get into these Savage Orc Boar Boys. Then we're going to get into the other group of Savage Orc Boar Boys, because they didn't move to the clump of Black Orcs fast enough. It was about at this point my opponent typed in chat. You can take a guess at what they typed. I'll give you a couple seconds. Yep, they typed "fuck you." Very simple, very plain. And you know what? I can't blame them for typing that. This is not cool. For either side. Honestly, this is not enjoyable for me. I just needed to test it out and see if it had potential to work. I definitely thought it does. And, well, you know, we're trying to see if it does. So far, so good. I'm not actually throwing our Chaos Sorcerer into this mix at all because I do not want him to get caught and murdered. So he is just kind of flying at all times and casting spells. Because why do I need him in the battle? We have all these Manticores and the Chaos Lord. So it was around this time I typed to the player. I said, sorry, I'm just doing this as a test. I need to see if this dumb build can work. But again, totally understandable why he would, or why they would say fuck you. I understand. I'd probably think the same thing if I saw this against me.
Now is our time.
So let's get this clear. This video is not me saying, oh, look how awesome this tactic is. This is to show you how dumb, how easy, dumb, and please don't do this tactic. That's what this video is. It's the only time I'm going to do it. We're going to charge these Black Orcs with our Cascading Fire Cloak. So everything here does have armor piercing. Now the Chaos Sword is focused on armor piercing. The Manticores are not. They still have a pretty decent amount of armor piercing. That the Cascading Fire Cloak is going to add an additional like 40 plus armor piercing damage to their attack. So it definitely works. And you can see in that one charge, we did manage to deal quite a lot of damage to these Black Orcs. We are currently starting to lose the Severo Manticore, but it's going to get out of there. And we are going to charge again.
All will be hell. I will destroy them.
And now, since all these Black Orcs are chasing this Manticore, we are going to go over to their Shaman. And in one charge, we are going to kill the Shaman. Shaman is now killed. We are going to get out of here. Again, I'm leaving my Chaos Sorcerer up here. My Chaos Sword actually does get caught right here, so I'm going to have to pop a Potion of Toughness, which I brought on him, because of course you would. Why wouldn't you bring a Potion of Toughness? And now that we have isolated and destroyed most of the things that can actually kill Marauder Horsemen, I'm going to be bringing them up soon. Now, if you really want to be, like, a total, what's the word to say, jerk here, or, you know, use your word of choice, you could actually probably take out one of these Manticores and grab, like, 4 Marauder Horse Masters or something. Or, you know, a mix of Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes and then Horse Masters, because that'd probably be more effective than just 2 regular Marauder Horsemen. But anyway, you can see that they are running my Chaos Sword off the battle, but that is okay. He will come back. We have dealt significant damage to one of their Black Orc groups and some more damage to everyone else. Here you go. You can see I'm bringing up my Marauder Horsemen. The other thing is, and I'm going to destroy the Savage Orc War boys that can actually take them out. You can also use Marauder Horsemen in a way to separate the enemy army. You can throw them in pretty close, hope that the enemy issues a charge order, kind of draw an enemy out of their little clump, which is what the enemy is doing right here. This is good. You should keep everything clumped up as much as possible in this situation so that they can't get picked off. But you can hopefully try and get them to make a mistake and charge your Marauder Horsemen, and so then they will create a situation where they will have an isolated unit, then you pounce on them with all these Manticores and murder them. If you want to be a total jerk about it. I'm just saying. So here we go, we're killing the rest of those. And again, this battle is not fun for me. It's not fun for me, but I needed to see. We all needed to see. I'm not saying I win. I'm just saying. It's not fun for me. Because now, just like, think of the psychological effect. That's a real thing in these games. You can crush a person's morale, like a real person's morale. Now, I'm not even talking about units' morale. Think of the situation they're in. I have murdered half their force at this point. I killed their shaman in one charge, and I'm now having Marauder Horsemen targeting their giant because he has low armor, and these are non-armor piercers. And there's literally nothing they can do about it. What are they going to do? Send their orc war balls after my Marauder Horsemen? For one, he can't even catch them. 2, if he does, then I'm going to pounce on them. My opponent knows this, probably, by this point, seeing as how I've killed everything else. And so now I'm just going to kind of park my army over their, over the enemy's army and allow my horsemen to use all their ammunition on them, weaken them up to the point where their morale's going to start shattering, and then we'll do a charge on the orc war boss as my next target, and then the giant, and then just crush these black orcs. And really, if you want to be really diabolical about it, you just charge 1 or 2 Manticores in, like, on the side, and then you just have them start running out, and you'll see this entire army is probably going to be mass right-clicked on that Manticore unit to try and surround it. So at that point, like, let's see the scenario here. Hold on, let's pause right here because we're actually almost over. So, like, you know, you charge right down here on the edge, and then you immediately withdraw those couple Manticores, you know, maybe 3, you know, make it a really enticing target. Maybe throw your Chaos Sword in there. That's kind of risky. Throw your Chaos Fire Sorcerer in there, make it really tempting. So you start dragging them out this way, and it's going to form this long line of troops that are now trying to catch up these Manticores that are trying to fly up, and then you hit the other flank with the rest of your Manticores, and you're probably going to be free to get in, do a lot of damage, and get out. which is what my plan is here. Also, again, if you really want to do this and be a complete jerk, I did not pick an AoE spell on a Chaos Sorcerer of Fire. But since the only real counter that this enemy currently has, and other enemies in the future will have, because they're going to have a lot of infantry that can't do shit, so they're probably going to just bunch up and hope that you get caught on all of them. Just bring like a Flaming Skull, a Bombardment spell, a Pillar of Fire, or any AoE spell that you have, and you can just cast on their army and watch them die. Now, I really hope this doesn't actually become a thing. Again, I'm showing this because I was curious to see if it could work, and right now me and my opponent are typing, and they are saying something to the effect of like, well, this build works. And I think I crushed their morale, and they're actually just going to leave. Here in just a moment. So I win? Question mark? I don't know. Doesn't feel like a win. It doesn't feel like a win, but there you go. We have seen it. I'm sorry. That is not a good game because I brought a very shitty army. But good game to my opponent who lasted this long and didn't just immediately leave. And it's totally okay that they told me to fuck off. Grumpy old Dan, I'm sorry if you ever watch this. But I told them in the video, I was like, listen, I needed to test this and see if it works. So it works. We didn't lose a single Manticore. We got a lot of kills. Listen, like, this is not impressive. It's not. Like, I really hope this doesn't happen. This type of stuff I saw for a while where King Lewin and just like a bunch of paladins, I've seen it set up kind of similar to this, and that's just, it's not fun to play with. It's just not fun. But now we know. Now, my opponent did leave before the game was, I guess, officially decided, but it was in the bag. Like, all I had to do was charge the Orc War boss, and then do that tactic that I was explaining, where you just kind of charge in one side, leave, and then charge another. It's just, it's really dumb. It's really dumb. I don't know if I really would want a cinematic view on this. There's really, honestly, not much to watch. We kind of got the point there. Again, you can make this build to be even worse if you truly want to. I hope you don't. I hope you don't. I hope this video is enough to just satiate your curiosity, because it is mine. I am never doing this again. God, it is so dumb. It is, like, it could be countered, surely, but what opponent is going to build an army to counter chaos in this way? The only way that's going to happen is if this happens a lot in quick battles and 1v1s. If people just start bringing this type of build all the time, then, you know, enemies will eventually know to counter it, but it's pretty dumb. I'm trying to think. What else? Is there anything else to do? No, I don't think so. In the future, I would like to try a Chaos Marauder / Cav focus build, which people have suggested. That's pretty cool. Also, someone suggested it's too bad that aspiring champions aren't on horses. That'd be pretty sweet. 12 elite infantry on horses, just to drive around or ride around wherever you need encouraging auras. That'd be pretty cool. Be pretty cool. You know what's uncool? Like if someone took an entire army of manticores and like a chaos sword or something. That's pretty dumb, right? Yeah, I even named that one well. Like, well, I mean, for 1,000 gold, man, you just get so much. You get so much for 1,000 gold. And, like, their high weapon strength, they still have 145 armor piercing. So that's why the Cascading Fire Cloak still is a really good buff for them. And you just come in and charge and just murder everything. Everything has terror and fear. Oh, something I did want to cover, actually, before this video ends, has nothing to do with Chaos. I had no idea that CA did this like stealth upgrade to two specific heroes, King Lewin Leon Kerr. Where is his thing? Here we go. Beloved Son of Bretonia, and then Thorgrim Grudgebearer has a similar effect. The thing is, you see where it says disabled if leadership is lower than 50%? Before this patch, that was only enabled when the leadership of this dude was wavering. So, in most cases, King Lewin was one of the last things to die if you were playing your game, I don't even want to say correctly, but if you were playing a really good game, then King Lewin would be one of the last ones to die, which means his leadership would be one of the last things to waver. But in the old game, when it was wavering, your entire army would get, you know, all of those stats right there. Melee attack, weapon damage, immune to psychology, and charge bonus. But now they, like, stealth changes, because I didn't see this in the patch notes, maybe I missed it, but now if his leadership is lower than 50%, then this is disabled. Other than that, it's enabled. What the fuck? What were you thinking? What? Like, not even as much as Bretonia. Like, that's still pretty crazy. That's still pretty crazy. Because your leadership is not going to be wavering as King Lewin. Again, until, like, towards the end, probably. Unless you just kind of throw him in the middle in the very beginning and watch him die or something. But who does that? That's pretty crazy. And then I'll show you Thorgrim. Like, God. Like, what? Thorgrim Grudgebearer. So his, what, like, High King? Yeah, the High King. So, again, this was, I guess it's a little different because it's not map wide. It's a 250 meter range instead of map wide like King Lewin. So King Lewin's is even better, I guess, technically. But still, like 250 meters in a dwarf army, it might as well be map wide, right? Because the dwarf army is not like spread all over the damn map. So as long as his leadership is above 50%, the dwarves get an additional 8 melee attack, charge bonus, weapon damage, and immune psychology. And already, like, he also has the Book of Great Grudges. So that's another 8. So that's 16 by himself. Before, you had to get 16 melee attack with him and the Runesmith. Well, now you can put the Runesmith here and then give them... make sure they didn't change that. Yeah, then an additional 8 melee attack right there. What? What? 24 melee attack with the Runesmith and Thorgrim Grudgebearer? On Dwarf Warriors with, like, great weapons? Fuck, on Miners? Like, what the hell? I don't know the exact percentile or percentage that it's going to increase. Like, it really depends on who they're fighting against. But still, like, a plus 24 melee attack on just Miners, you know? Because Miners are still pretty good, especially if you're facing off against Greenskins, because they're going to be running at you with Black Orcs, right? Of course they will. It's going to be a front line of Biggins, and then backed up by Black Orcs, and probably a Crimson Killers now, the Renown unit. So now you can just throw a bunch of cheap-ass Miners, and they're going to be getting some decent hits against Black... actually, let me look. What's the Black Orc melee defense? It's not terrible. Actually, it is kind of terrible. 22. So, there you go. Like, I'm not saying the Miner is going to beat a Black Orc in melee one-on-one, but you can throw a couple of them at a Black Orc, and they're going to be doing some damage, because these Miners still do 17 guaranteed damage against a Black Orc. And with Thorgrim Grudgebearer and a Runesmith buffing them up, my god, it's crazy. The buffing power of the Dwarves is nuts, man, because you have the Rune Lord, which I've shown you before, like, that dude's crazy. Now Thorgrim is even crazier. Like, I always believed in Thorgrim. Like, everyone took Ungrim because he has a fucking mohawk and he's unkillable. But, I was always backing Thorgrim because his buffing abilities before was so great. Like, this High King ability was pretty sweet. Or, Book of Grudges. The High King was I mean, because again, it only was active if his leadership was wavering before, but now it's even better. So now you have so many options to bring into Dwarves. Just forget Ungrim, man. Just kick him to the curb. I'm tired of seeing Ungrim. Just bring Balagar, Thorgrim, or the Rune Lord. Or hell, the Lord, actually. The Lord's still pretty good, too. But anyway, I just wanted to cover that buff because I just found out about that recently, so that's pretty crazy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the map, or the game, everybody. Don't pick the Manticore army. It's really dumb and would ruin multiplayer if a lot of people started doing it. But now we know for sure. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.